Welcome, and how are you doing? I hope that you are having a fantastic day. Today we're going to talk about cryptocurrency news. Bitcoin Gold is up 329%, and it did that rise in about 45 minutes. Media reports Bitcoin is up, and alt season has it actually begun. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion. I'm not smarter than you. You are smarter than you realize. Do not trust what I say. Do your own research. Cryptocurrency involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for every investor. Trade only with risk capital. That is, trade with money that, if lost, will not adversely impact your lifestyle and your ability to meet your financial obligations. So, let's get into it. Bitcoin Gold yesterday had a spectacular day. In fact, let's go to the daily chart just for a moment. So you can see it had been puttering along here in the $5, $6 range. And then all of a sudden yesterday, it jumped from a low, and the lows are over here. So let me go back. A low of $6.95 and hit a high of $14.47. And then as the day closed, this says it's a high of $19. But if we jump down to the 5-minute candle, and I'm sorry, I actually want the 15-minute candles. And we go over here, you can see that it was, let me highlight that again, $22. I don't know why it disappears after a few seconds. $22.96.3. And so with that high of $22 from the low of about $6, $6.96 was the low of the day, that gives us a whopping 329%. Now, notice that this is a 15-minute chart. And so there's a 15-minute, 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 15-minute period. So within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about an hour and a half, it jumped 329%. And this is the Bitcoin Gold price that we're talking about. Now, right now, it's trading at $14.96. And right now is January 15th at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time in the United States. And so we can see that it had a spectacular rise, and I'm really surprised that it held its price. I expected, given that it hit $23 and it did it so quickly, I figured it'd come right back down to, the $6 range where it had started from. But so far, it's holding its price at $14.96. So to me, that's quite surprising. You can kind of see the 15-minute bars bouncing around after that. Another big winner yesterday was also Dash. Here's the one-day chart. And on the one-day chart for Dash, you can see that it also skyrocketed. I mean, here we have a low of $69, and it peaked out at $130. Now, it's interesting that the Dash is a lot closer, even when the high is a lot closer even when I'm looking at the 15 minutes, because when you go over here and we see the high at 15 minutes, come on, show that number, 132.993. So I don't know why, for whatever reason, Bitcoin Gold on the chart, I had to go to the 15-minute chart in order to see that it was 22,963. So right there you can see, and it disappears so fast. Anyway, so yesterday, the entire cryptocurrency market had a very good day. Bitcoin went up about 13%. A lot of other cryptocurrencies had 30 and 40% days. But I had noticed a huge day for both Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin Dash. And so I thought that was newsworthy and worth sharing, especially since I saw a couple of websites talking about Dash, but I have not seen any websites talking about Bitcoin Gold, which kind of surprised me since Bitcoin Gold had such a huge upswing yesterday. Just went huge. Now, the other thing that I'm noticing is everybody's been waiting for when is the next bull market going to happen. And part of what's going to drive the next bull market is the mainstream media. And I noticed that with Bitcoin doing a nice rise yesterday, and we've been seeing some really nice gains since the beginning of the year. I noticed that the mainstream media is starting to pick up on that. And when the mainstream media starts talking about that, and then we get things like TD Ameritrade and Fidelity and all these others making it possible for people to just go right into their stock brokerage accounts and purchase cryptocurrency, all of that is going to lead to a very strong and long-lasting bull market sometime in the future. Now, this is just my personal opinion. This is not financial advice. Do your own research, check it out, come to your own conclusions, but I am trying to give you some information. So this is an article on Forbes. Forbes is talking about Bitcoin reaches its highest in more than 2 months. On CNBC, they had a similar article today. Bitcoin is up 20% so far this year. One expert predicts it could hit $16,000 by the year end. And CNBC went on to say Bitcoin has recorded its best start of the year since 2012. Bitcoin was trading at around $8,600 at 13:34 p.m., up roughly 20% so far this year. Experts put the recent rise down to the launch of CME's Bitcoin options and an event known as the halvening, which I've been talking a lot about in my various videos. But the halvening taking place in May, and the halvening essentially slows down the supply of new Bitcoin being mined by 50%. They didn't bother to say that. Currently, every 10 minutes, a new block is created, and the block rewards to the miners is 12.5 Bitcoin. And after May, that reward will drop to 6.25 Bitcoin per every 10-minute, every block that's mined, which happens about every 10 minutes. And so the reward for miners is going to be cut in half sometime around May. Just depends on how quickly those blocks are actually mined. Typically, it takes about 10 minutes for a block to be mined, but that's because they're solving complex math problems. That's an approximate figure as far as it taking about 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes a little bit less, sometimes it takes a little bit more. But the way the software is written for Bitcoin is the software self-adjusts, trying to keep it right around that 10-minute time frame. And so sometime mid-May is when the halvening will take place, because it takes place on a specific block. After, and forgive me, I may get the number wrong, but I think it's somewhere around 200,000 blocks. The mining reward is cut in half. And so that is coming up in the near future. Now, this was the Wall Street Journal. And like I said, as the mainstream media starts writing articles and bringing people's attention to the price of Bitcoin, that's going to cause other people to try and invest or purchase Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin has its biggest New Year rally since 2012. Enthusiasts point towards hopes for more widespread adoption of cryptocurrencies as a factor. And it's interesting that they used a picture, that the Wall Street Journal chose a picture of a Bitcoin ATM. These are available all across the United States. They're available throughout Canada. There's thousands of Bitcoin ATMs all around the world. They have Bitcoin ATMs down in Venezuela and a lot of other locations worldwide. And so I just thought it was interesting that Wall Street Journal chose a Bitcoin ATM for its image for this article. Bitcoin is enjoying its best start of the year since 2012, with enthusiasts pointing towards hopes of a more widespread adoption of cryptocurrencies as a factor fueling the rally. The price of Bitcoin recently approached $9,000, up 20% midway through January since the start of the year, according to the research site CoinDesk. It hasn't gained more in the year to January 15th since 2012. Bitcoin recently traded at $8,637. Similar rival digital currencies like Ether and Ripple backed XRP coin are also up, gaining 25 and 20% respectively this month. Bitcoin offshoots have also gained. So I think that's kind of funny. Bitcoin offshoots have also gained. Well, we just looked at Bitcoin Gold, which is a Bitcoin offshoot. And yesterday, Bitcoin Gold gained 329%. So yes, Bitcoin offshoots have also gained. So just kind of cool. Now, one thing the Wall Street Journal didn't point out is it talked about that people are anticipating Bitcoin to have a bull market as the public gets more awareness of it, but they didn't talk about how, the backed exchange is opening up a digital wallet, a digital application that's a joint, the backed warehouse, the backed exchange, cryptocurrency exchange slash warehouse or custody service is a joint venture between Microsoft, Starbucks, and the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange, the Intercontinental Exchange. All three of those organizations created the backed exchange, and they're introducing an app that you'll be able to use to use Bitcoin to buy Starbucks coffee, or use Bitcoin to buy things off of Microsoft's websites or off of other companies that use Microsoft services. You'll be able to use Bitcoin to do purchases through that app on those different properties, as well as other properties that they're able to get people to use. So if the combination of the backed exchange with their app is able to convince Amazon to allow purchases through their app on Amazon, then that would be an example of another organization that app can be used for. So that the backed exchange is going to be pushing that app on mainstream organizations worldwide to use their app and allow their app to make purchases through those different businesses. And so there's a lot of things happening in 2020 that's going to help Bitcoin go mainstream in many, many different ways, from stock market to retail apps to it being available on different stock exchanges. And so as 2020 unfolds, more and more of these consumer level as well as institutional level investment opportunities are opening up for Bitcoin and for other cryptocurrencies. So it could prove to be quite an interesting year. Now, this is an article from Bloomberg Law, and they're talking about the Cryptocurrency Act of 2020, which was introduced in December. An eventful 2019 for cryptocurrency field ended with a widespread talk in late December about the potential for federal law defining categories of crypto assets and specifying the federal regulatory agencies authorized to regulate them, a Cryptocurrency Act of 2020 discusses. Now, a lot of this article talks about how this particular act has a lot of work to do because there are areas of this act that conflict with existing laws. But it's good to see that this is actually running through the government and that the United States government is taking seriously cryptocurrency in particular, but they're actually working on trying to develop their own regulations for it. So it shows that the cryptocurrency market, this is another aspect of it going mainstream. I know that there's a lot of people out there that are cryptocurrency enthusiasts, that one of the things that they liked about it is that you can be your own bank without having all of these bank regulations. Well, unfortunately, you can't avoid the bank regulations or avoid the government regulations forever. There is a point in time when cryptocurrency gets large enough that the government is going to want to do its regulatory thing, and that's kind of, in my mind, I don't know. It's kind of like trying to avoid death and taxes. Neither one of those can be very successfully avoided. And so I think while I don't like seeing regulations of cryptocurrency, I think it's an inevitable part of cryptocurrency going mainstream. And to me, it's a bigger deal to see cryptocurrency going mainstream because I'm hoping for, 10x, 100x, 1000x returns on my cryptocurrency investments. And so to me, while I don't like it, to me this is still good news to see that the US government is actually having conversations about enacting regulations. That tells me that cryptocurrency has become mainstream enough that they're taking the time to analyze all of this and figure out what to do with it. That never did happen when cryptocurrency was small time, and so cryptocurrency is approaching mainstream or big time adoption. So, how cryptocurrency can take on traditional funds. Having emerged in just the last decade, cryptocurrency is still seen as a nascent experiment by most rather than a legitimate contender in the world of high finance. After all, stock exchanges have been around since 1600s. The investment funds existed since the 1700s. The global stock market today is worth a mind-boggling $68 trillion according to the World Bank. Given these figures, it's easy to discount the relevance of cryptocurrencies, which collectively have a market cap of around $200 billion. However, I believe cryptocurrency deserves a serious look by financial professionals, lest they fall into the same complacency trap that led to the death of companies like Blockbuster. In spite of millions of articles and countless forums out there on how to succeed as a business, it all comes down to one thing: providing the best product. I kind of don't 100% disagree with that. I have a slight disagreement with that, but I'll get to that in a minute. Consumers are always looking for what's cheaper, faster, flashier, in some way better than the competition. So I do agree that consumers are always looking for cheaper, faster, better, but I don't think that the best product always wins. If it did, then Microsoft wouldn't be as big as it is because Macintosh and Apple has a better product. The difference is that Microsoft was mainstream long before Apple became mainstream, and it was that momentum, that size that Microsoft already built that pushed it, has maintained its dominance. And so there's a whole lot to be said about adoption. And when companies are gaining a lot of adoption or mainstream adoption, that momentum can carry them on even if they don't have the best product. When it comes to finding an asset manager or investment fund, consumers are no different. They prefer companies that instill trust and more specifically are looking for things like liquidity, variety in fund types, innovation, and low investment minimums. In the case of funds, trust largely comes down to transparency. Can you, as an investor, verify the fund holdings and interactions with the funds in real time? Traditional funds, whether it's Vanguard or BlackRock, don't offer this level of insight. However, some blockchain-based investment specialists are able to do so, given that transparency is one of the core tenets of blockchain. So I do agree somewhat that trust is really, really important, but I think ultimately an investor is, am I going to make money? Is this going to be a profitable venture? Am I putting my money into something that I'm going to get a financial return from? And if I'm not, I'm going to pull it out and put it in somewhere else. So, Crypto Investors declares alt season as Litecoin, Ethereum, and EOS come alive. Well, we just talked about Bitcoin Gold and Dash having some tremendous days, both of which exceeded 100% return in less than 24 hours. So maybe alt season has begun. A popular host, Crypto Investors, made a bullish statement in altcoins. Rand Newer's tweet was met with heavy criticism. Nevertheless, it is difficult to deny that large market cap coins are showing signs of strength. It's not a secret that most alternative coins or altcoins are dependent upon Bitcoin. Wherever Bitcoin goes, almost every other crypto token follows. That's especially true for large market cap coins such as Ethereum, Litecoin, and EOS. And so all three of these coins, well, in fact, really, the entire alt market is starting to come alive at this time. And so It would be a good idea if you're investing in cryptocurrency to take a look at some of the other altcoins that are available out there. You may find some real hidden gems, especially that'll do something like what BTG did yesterday with a 300% return in less than 24 hours. So, how can I be of service to you? We would love if you would engage with us and ask some questions. If you have any questions from today's video, put them in the comments below, either on the YouTube channel or on the library channel. We will definitely respond to any comments or questions that you post. Would love to hear from you. I hope you're enjoying our videos. In the meantime, like, subscribe, and hodl. And I hope that you have a fantastic